Nestled in a quiet part of the grounds, Father Campbell's chapel was a haven from the horrors of the rest of the asylum. Those patients whose illnesses were less severe were given the run of the place, and many would come here for refuge to communicate with God and confess their sins. Sadly, Father Campbell's legacy of good works counted for nothing when the nurse's mind snapped and he drew his final breath in the confessional that had helped so many. If you haven't figured it out by now, today on Surviving the Fog, we are going to be looking at Father Campbell's chapel. Now, before we get into this any further, I just want to let you guys know that we do stream throughout the week at twitch.tv/Parklis. If you happen to be around, stop on by, say hey, ask any questions, and just hang out and have an all-around good time. We'd love to see you there. Now, for those who don't know what these videos are about, or if you're new to Dead by Daylight in general, every single map has a large pool of possible totem spawns that can appear throughout the map. Whenever the trial begins, the game will randomly select 5 of these spawns and place them in tiles throughout the map. What we aim to do here is show you each and every possible totem spawn in their respective tiles, so the next time you happen to be on Father Campbell's chapel, you'll be better prepared and know where these locations are if you need to hunt down totems for whatever reason, whether you're on a challenge or maybe there's a hex perk you want to get rid of. So to make viewing easier, what we're doing here is we're going to split this video up into 4 separate sections with some timestamps for you to jump around. The first set is going to be your nature tiles. These are going to be your rocks and trees and stuff. Then we're going to move into the jungle gym tiles. Those are the ones that you see on almost every single map. And then we'll have the ruined buildings. That's the burnt down buildings and the crumbling stone structures. And then finally, we're going to have the main tiles. Those are the tiles that are always the same on the map, no matter how many times you play it. That's going to be the main building, the shack, that kind of stuff. So without any further ado, let's jump on into today's episode of Surviving the Fog, Father Campbell's Chapel. Now, the first totem we're going to look at is going to be in the nature tiles. This is going to be just a standard tree nature tile. This one basically has nothing in here except for several sets of trees. You'll notice that there are 2 pairs of trees that are kind of diagonal from each other with a lighter and a darker shade of tree for each. Now, one of these at the base of the trunks will have your totem. This totem is going to be facing the interior of the tile, and it's going to be kind of closer to the center. You'll notice sometimes there'll be a generator or a hook in this tile. So as you're kind of glancing around, take a look at the pairs of trees and you might just find a totem. Now, the next nature tile we're going to look at is the first set of rock tree tiles. This one, you'll notice, has a large cluster of rocks and trees. 2 of the rocks, the larger rocks, are going to be flanked by trees. One of the rocks has trees on the sides, and one of them have trees in front of it. Now, unlike some of the other maps, the totem isn't going to be on the run, the one that has the trees in front of the rock. This totem is going to be on the rock that has the 2 trees flanking each side, and on the side of the rock that is taller, that has the little hook up, that's the corner you're going to find your totem at. And now this tile, another rock and tree tile, you'll notice that there's a larger cluster of rocks and trees. You'll notice one of the sets of rocks is flanked by trees, but there aren't actually 2 sets flanked by trees, and this is what differentiates this tile between the other one. Also, 2 of the sets of rocks are close together where sometimes a pallet can spawn. Now, you'll see these 3 trees kind of make a triangle, and on the smaller rock that is flanked by trees tucked in the corner next to the pallet is going to be your totem. Right, as we continue down the nature tiles, this is kind of a tree rock junk tile. You'll notice it's a lot sparser and more barren than the other ones. There's maybe a couple rocks, a handful of trees, and one of them, the trees, has actually been snapped and destroyed. And next to that snapped and destroyed tree is going to be a pile of junk. Now, this is going to be towards the center of the tile, kind of out in the open. There's really not much here, so this is kind of an easy tile to just pass by and not think about. But if you see the junk tucked in the junk next to where the tree is, you just might see yourself a totem if you're passing by. The next nature tile we're going to look at is probably one of the more well-known tiles. This tile is on several of the outdoor maps. This is the hill tile. Just like most of the other hills, you're going to have one pathway that leads up to the top of the hill. 3 of the sides of the hill are inaccessible from the bottom floor. You can jump off the top. Sometimes there's a generator, sometimes there's a hook, sometimes there's a chest, and sometimes you'll find yourself a totem. This totem is going to be on the right side of the path as you're coming up, nestled behind some of the rocks that are up there. So take a peek up there and you might just see a totem waiting. First set of jungle gym tiles we're going to look at is the de facto jungle gym. This has a hallway that leads to a window. On the opposite side is going to be several openings, one of which has a pallet that is diagonal from the window. Inside the tile, you'll notice there are going to be some lockers, sometimes a hook, and sometimes a generator. Now, this tile is on many other maps. You've seen this. It's all over the place. They've used it since Macmillan, and so I'm sure you've seen it. The totem here is going to be on the interior of the tile where the generator spawns. You'll see a pile of junk and a flaming fire barrel. Now, behind that pile of junk, tucked away in a corner, is going to be your totem. As we continue down the jungle gym tiles, we are going to look at what is arguably the strongest, or maybe second strongest in the game. This is going to be your long wall jungle gym. This is most notable by the long wall that has a window, and across the tile from that is going to be the hallway that has a pallet. Just like in your jungle gym tile, you're going to have lockers, chests, hook, generator, and just like in the last tile, the totem is going to be in the same place. On the side where the generator spawns, tucked in that little corner behind some junk, is going to be your totem. The next jungle gym tile we're going to look at is what is known as the long wall, short wall tile. Sometimes it's been called the sea jungle gym, but there's other reasons for that. There is a pallet that is flanked by 2 sets of walls. One of them is a long wall and one of them is a short wall, hence the name. The reason why it was called a sea tile is because on the other side of the tile, there's a couple broken walls. One of them was in the shape of a C. Now with these reworks, that C has turned into like a J or a G or a 6, however you want to look at it. I guess it could be a 9. Well, in that little section is going to be where your totem's going to be, hooked in that little J section. The final jungle gym we're going to look at is the infamous L wall, T wall jungle gym. This is most notable by there are 2 parallel lines or walls that have windows that are diagonal from each other. One of these walls is intersected with a shorter wall that creates a 90-degree angle, or an L. And then the other one is perpendicular and connecting to another slightly larger, longer wall that creates a T. Now, on the interior of this tile is going to be your totem on the T wall on the interior, next to some junk tucked away. Pretty easy to see. Can't really miss it. All right, now the first in the set of ruin / rubble tiles is, now all of these tiles are basically burnt down buildings or structures. This first one is kind of in the shape of an open cross, or a T, where there's an entryway into the tile from all 4 cardinal directions that make a plus or a cross section. 2 of these sides can have a pallet. Sometimes there'll be a hook or a generator. Now on one of the sides with the pallet, you're going to notice again another little hitch or a J section with some broken wood or some rubble, and tucked in that little corner is going to be your totem. This one can be pretty easy to miss, so take a look. Next tile we're going to look at is, I'm calling kind of like a ruined jungle gym, your standard jungle gym, because it kind of has a lot of the similarities of a jungle gym, but it kind of doesn't. You could kind of call it a weird long wall, short wall. I don't know. It's kind of weird. So you have a pallet on one corner that's diagonal from a broken down hallway, but there's also a center entry point. There's no windows. Anyway, so on that broken down place where the entry point is in the center, tucked in a corner next to some, again, destroyed wood, is going to be your totem. One we're going to look at is a more ruined and destroyed version of what could be considered a long wall, short wall. where this one's very open in the center. And just like in most of these structures, you can kind of have a hook or a generator. On one of the walls, usually the long wall, short wall side is going to be your pallet. This one is going to be a little bit more noticeable when it comes to finding the totem. In the small wall corner, you're going to have, again, that kind of like J hook kind of thing with the ruined rubble of wood and debris, and tucked next to that pallet is going to be your totem. Leaving the ruin section and coming into the rubble section of the ruined rubble tiles is going to be what I'm calling the ruined pallet loop. So you have these two large stone ruined walls that are parallel to each other, and there can be a pallet in between them. And there's also some other junk and trees around. And so where the pallet is on the larger, longer side, the kind that hooks out into several different sections of the wall, and there's going to be a stack of junk that's tucked in a little corner there. Between all of that is going to be your totem. This one can be pretty easy to miss, especially if it's not lit. Now, the next tile in the ruined rubble is going to be another set of rubble. These have lower walls than the rubble loop. This is kind of a rubble version of the long wall, short wall. There's no floor. It's all just stones and debris all over the place. Now, there can still be a pallet here, and on the short wall side of the pallet, as opposed to the slightly longer wall on the interior of the tile, that's where your totem's going to be, unlike the actual jungle gym. So this is kind of like a flipped version of a different tile from another map, but it's going to be there. As we finish off the ruin and rubble, we are moving into the main tiles. These are the tiles that are basically always going to be in the same spot, no matter how many times you play the map. They may be in different orientation, but what's there is always going to be there. This first set we're going to look at is going to be the carnival. This is the section to the back where the big wagon or the Voldo is going to be and Maurice is at. This first part we're going to look at is the side with the test your strength, the spin the wheel of luck, and the storage for the carousel horses, which I'm a little upset we didn't get a carousel. Anyway, your totem is going to be at the storage tent for the carousel horses tucked in the corner. Both sides of the carnival have two totems, so we're going to stick to this same side with the spin the wheel, the test your strength, and the storage for the carousel horses. This second totem is going to be towards the center of the tile. It's still going to be in one of the tents. It's going to be in the tent that has the spin the wheel. This one is pretty easy to spot as it's not as hidden as the last one. This one's pretty much in the open. The only thing you have to have an issue with is the angle at which you're coming at the tent, but your totem might just be here. So take a quick look if you happen to be in the area. We continue with the carnival main section of this map. We're going to flip to the other side of the path. One cool thing about all of these totems, there's going to be 4 here in total, is you do a decent spread walk around the area and you can actually check all 4 places really quickly, especially if you have to get rid of a ruin or an undying or a noed. On this side, you're going to have the fortune teller booth. You're going to have the throw your daggers, and you're also going to have the test your skill. But this totem is going to be at the fortune teller on the outside of the tent to the left next to some boxes. Final totem here in the carnival is also going to be on that same side with the fortune teller, with the knife throwing platform thing, and with the test your skill. That is the 3 buckets where you throw balls in to try and win prizes and score points. This totem is actually going to be, if you notice with the big wooden circle where you throw the knives at, behind it is going to be a stack of hay bales. That stack of hay bales is kind of in a C, and tucked behind it in a corner is going to be your totem. This one can be pretty hard to spot if you're running through pretty fast. As we come to the penultimate totem, this is going to be the shack. That's right. You know it, you love it, or you hate it. Everybody has seen it. It's on almost every single map, specifically the outdoor maps. This is going to be your killer shack. Killer shack is most noticeable by the fact that it is a squared off building. It has 2 doorway entryways. One of these doorways have a pallet. One of the walls has a window. Inside is going to be lockers, generators. On the outside is going to be a hook. Sometimes on the inside is a chest. Sometimes you'll have the basement. Now on the side with the pallet opening, you're going to have your totem tucked behind some little boxes and junk. So take a quick look and you might just find a totem in here. All right, ladies and gentlemen and everyone else, we have arrived at the final totem here in the Father Campbell's church, and that is going to be the main building itself. Now, before we show you the final one, I just want to thank everyone who has stuck it out this far. Everyone is awesome as always. If you haven't already, a like is surely appreciated. If you like what you saw here, I like it, makes me smile. Also, if you want to see more videos as they come out and be notified, make sure you hit that subscribe button. You guys know how YouTube works. It's been that way forever. So this final totem is going to be upstairs. If you can come in from multiple different entryways, there's the 3 outdoor stairs, or the 2 outdoor stairs and 1 indoor stair. But if you go up to the very back, if you go over this little archway bridge and to where one of the windows is usually broken out, or it could be a vault, so you're going to find this totem tucked in a corner here right before you jump out. So thanks everybody for hanging out. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We love you if nobody told you. And remember, stay safe out there in the fog.